artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
I don't know if it was a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0.
Doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, X, Twitch, DLive, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And also 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand on the Underground Media Network. There's something up with Rockfin, so if you guys are trying to find out what's up, I don't know. I logged in. It seems as if my creator account has been nuked, so I'll have to file a ticket. Or maybe I got booted. Who really knows? So you never know the way these things work, right? Layoffs and all. But in any case, the wild part about this is that tonight, as you know, I like to. I'm a weird guy. I like to think about wild ideas, and of course, great time to drop all the disclaimers here at the very beginning because, as usual, look, I don't know anything that anybody else does or doesn't. I'm just me, and so I don't I don't channel entities or I don't do any of that. I channel myself, and I think about folklore and mythology, and I think about all these other wild ideas, and how the past seems to definitely influence and inform the future in a lot of ways. And about me, that's really about me, and I love to think about them in terms of not just, let's say, science fiction, but in terms of the old ways. And I think there's a lot to it as part of those conversations go. And so right out of the gate, we'll just drop it at the disclaimers. All the disclaimers apply. I don't have any, amazing insight here. I'm just trying to keep up a tradition that's been going on for a very long time about not forgetting the old ways. So if you're here for truth, there's no truth to be found. It's just ideas. It's wild speculation. It's, as I like to call these, philosophical constructs, and as a basically a basis for a conversation. That's it. So we will be taking your calls later in the show if you want to be part of it. But it's a wild thing to consider all these things happening. Like a crazy style. My show goths are barking again. My thumbnail's not right. Everything's broken. I mean, I don't know what to do. I wonder. I feel like the internet's breaking a little bit at a time. Anybody recognize this too? I wonder what's happening. Has the singularity woken up and started putting its tendrils and everything, tentacles and everything? I can't hear anything on Discord, but I can on YouTube. Is that okay? All right, that's perfect. Nice. All right. Yeah, so I'm still having those audio issues. Like I said, everything's breaking. Everything's breaking right now. So let me try this real fast on Discord. So if nobody can hear me on Discord, that's not good because, yeah. Yes, it's been a hell of a weekend, I'll tell you that. All right, let's see. That's good. Is it coming through game? No, it should be Pro to default system. Okay, I think this is the thing, but then this will break it. We still haven't resolved this. I don't know. I think maybe we just, I don't know. Do we can this? Do we no sound on Discord? Is there sound on Discord now? Anybody confirm? Okay. Anyway, I feel like we should just break this and then do it tomorrow. Once again, because I don't even know if the Discord's going to work. I don't know if the phone line's going to work. I don't know if anything's going to work. I've been doing real life stuff all weekend long, and yeah. So I don't know. Put up hands out there. Let's vote on this because I don't want to do this silly and like half-ass with half things broken and not be able to talk to you guys. And anyway, so you tell me. We can kind of kick it and do a musing of myself or something else. I don't know. But to kind of go through this, I feel like this is kind of an important one, by the way, because this is changing in a lot of ways. The world is changing in a lot of ways, especially with whatever it is, all of the information kind of coming out. Yeah, I thought I was the only one noticing. Which part? That everything's breaking? Everything, or the internet? Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, maybe North Vixen says over there on Rumble that maybe I thought I was the only one noticing. Everything seems to be breaking for me, and I'm not sure why. All of my usual SOGOS, I've been using Canva for years to do the thumbnails and the text and all the stuff, including this right back here. That was made in Canva, which has been better than Photoshop for a very long time. However, it's been breaking recently. I can't even get the damn thing to work. I can't get it to load fonts. I can't get it to paste images in. It's just like, it's been like this for weeks now too. So I don't know. I feel like maybe I've been, I don't know. I'm not going to say it. I just won't even say it. But does anybody recognize that? Am I the only one who's noticing things are kind of breaking a little bit here or there? Because the entire board's broken. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. All right. So I guess, yeah. I thought this might be a possibility. So I don't want to waste everybody's time and kind of half-ass this because, like I said, this is really an important one. I'll give you the breakdown, and there is the write-up if you guys want to check this out. But I do feel like maybe I should fix all this audio and strip it all back again and do all the things. I do have some good news, though, so I'll give you the good news in a second here. But so I'll give you the premise, too, if you guys are you waited for the show, so I appreciate that. So I'll give you the premise real quick. And we'll tackle this tomorrow, I think, because like I said, I'm not sure Discord's going to work. It's going to have this echo again. The phone line's probably broken, so it'll just be me talking. Anyway, so we'll do a segment. We'll go to the bottom of the hour, and then we'll wrap it, and then I'll come back and fix the audio, and probably we'll just do this in full tomorrow night. Sorry to be so wishy-washy with the technology, but when it breaks, it breaks. I don't know what to do. I can only do as much as I can do with the time that I have. But anyway, so here's the debunker in chief. Very polarizing figure in the UFO community. Many people don't appreciate the work he does. Many people do. I'm as I always like to say, I'm as agnostic as possible in all these things because I think individuals like Mick West play an important role in sort of debunking a lot of the things that are not, let's say, on the up and up. Because let's admit it, there's a lot of things in the UFO community that are not. There are people making up tall tales and, which is unfortunate because there are actual experiencers, in my opinion. And so making up tall tales is just the worst of the worst. But anyway, so earlier today, what day is it today? Hell, I don't even know what day it is. It's been one of those weekends, guys. Okay, yeah, so the 23rd. Mick West posted this on X. The fashionable thing now in ufology is psionics. You've never heard of it before because it's an invented term from the 1950s science fiction combining psychic and electronics. It was adopted by D&D in the 2000s and video games after that, and now it's part of UFO mythology. So that's the basis here. And there's some corrections. He corrected himself a little later because it wasn't adopted in the 2000s. He recognized, I think some people added him and said, hey, it was earlier than that. Correction, psionics was adopted by D&D in the 1970s, which is indeed true. I did go back and pull out the Player's Handbook, the old school Player's Handbook from 1978, and it is indeed in Appendix 1 of this fantastic book from 1978. In any case, it's interesting how all of this stuff kind of comes together into the space of modern folklore, modern mythology as we're building a UFO mythology. And I say that in the nicest way. I'm not saying it's all phony or fiction or anything. You know me. I'm willing to entertain that maybe the gods of old were real in some capacity. So with me, when I talk about mythology, it's not a dig. It's an actual, well, maybe Maybe. You never know. So anyway, digging into this, I dug into it a little bit, and I did find that in the player's handbook, like I said, there's a table of psionic disciplines and all the rest. We will talk about this tomorrow, and I'll have it a little bit more prepared, because I'm going to fix, like I said, I'm going to fix the audio. There's just no chance here doing this half broken. I don't know what's going out and what's working and what isn't working, and so I don't know. I may have to. I'm not sure what to do, because I can't roll back. Maybe I could roll back to like a previous working state here. I'm gonna have to figure something out. But anyway, yeah. So this is on page. So this is from the original Player's Handbook, page 110, and the first appendix. Appendix 1 is psionics. Okay, and so this is basically psi abilities, as we've been told, as these things we were talking about for a very long time. We've been talking about this stuff for ages on this show, but it's just now sort of entered the lexicon of conversation in the UFO community as the new term. And so it does make me a little suspicious, and I'll drop this. So first, the good news. The good news is, so I did peel out some time yesterday around noon my time to do a wide-ranging, long interview with Jay of Project Unity, which I've been talking about for quite some time. We were able to kind of make it happen. He got sick there for a bit, and so we kicked it down the road. And it is about the Trump time travel stuff. In brief, it's not really a wide-ranging conversation about that, but it kind of touches on a lot of things, including, of course, psionics and UFOs and some of the other stuff that we've talked about quite often on this show. So that's going to be hitting soon. He's editing the video. I think the entire interview will be up on Rumble soon. He's got a Rumble channel, so do follow Project Unity. That's Jay over there doing great work, Jay Anderson. Follow him, of course, on X and all the places. And he's going to put some clips of the interview up on YouTube as well. But it was a great conversation. Fantastic stuff, but again, squeezing all these things in with real life stuff happening, brakes on my car, all kinds of stuff happening that have to get done. Anyway, so psionics this is straight from the Appendix 1 of D&D. Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 1978 from the Player's Handbook, okay, which again looks like that. I've got a copy of it right here in the house that I got way back. It wasn't 1978, it was mid-80s, and I bought it from a garage sale used because I think their kid went to college and just left his stuff there. So, hey, how about that? But anyway, the wild part, here we go. So psionics are various powers derived from the brain, and they enable characters so endowed to perform in ways which resemble magical abilities. If your dungeon master opts to include psionic abilities in your campaign, they will be determined for humans and possibly dwarves and halflings as follows. And there's kind of a rule mechanic where you got to roll the die. I'm not going to read it to you because some of these read as really boring and clunky, and people that don't play the game will be like, what the hell is this guy's talking about? But basically, to boil it down, it was very rare for a character to have psionic abilities. You had to roll like a 0-0, like 100 on a 100-sided dice. And there were some, wisdom, charisma, and intelligence modifiers. You could get it down to 97, 98, 99, and 100. So basically, it was very rare, incredibly rare, even in Dungeons and Dragons, which, had magic and dragons and dungeons and treasure and all manner of wild stuff, right? But anyway, so the psionic ability is this. The psionically endowed character rolls percentile dice. Oops, that's not the one I wanted. Psionic powers include attack modes, defense modes, and disciplines, or magic-like powers. The number of each power is determined by further dice rolls, attack, defense modes, and selected by choice, which they did, as usual. The Gary Gygax crew way back in the day that created Dungeons & Dragons did a fantastic job of putting this stuff together. All manner of defense modes, mind blank, thought shield, mental barrier, intellect fortress, tower of iron will, so just so many things. The attack stuff, an interesting part of this is there's something called psionic blast, which is sort of like an ancient key energy, where you've seen those old what are they, kung fu masters or whatever they are, Qigong, I'm not sure, Enoch would know, where they supposedly do that thing where they emit some sort of power and knock people down. Have you guys seen that? It's kind of like that, right? It's kind of like that. And so the psionic blast is a wave of brain force, in effect much like stunning news to the mind. It is costly in attack point expenditure, but it's the only psionic attack that can affect non-psionic creatures. So recognize that that's the only one that can affect even the outside realm of the mind itself. So this is combat within the mindscape, within the mind space. And it's it's one of those things that we all cheated and fudged and played characters that had psionics, because you do psionic campaigns or whatever and stuff like this. So yeah, it's a wild thing, but psionics again is in the UFO lexicon again because of that whistleblower Jake Barber, is it? I believe his name is. The articles are down below. You can check those out. And yeah, so like I said, many of you know about this already, so I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But it is interesting. I never thought I'd hear Mick West or some of the prominent UFO skeptics posting about psionics themselves and using that word. And here's the thing too. So regarding Jay of Project Unity, he said this, and I think this is incredibly smart, that we talked a little bit about this in the interview, which I said when this comes out, I'll link it in the Discord and also on X. But he said this, and we'll talk about this in depth tomorrow, and you can kind of maybe chew on this for the 24 hours while I fix the audio, because yes, indeed. This audio is everything breaking is maddening to me because it's all time, and I just don't have a ton of time to be fixing things like this. So yeah, I spent an hour before the Jay interview, Project Unity here on Saturday morning, making sure everything would work with because he used Riverside.fm, and it worked. Everything was fine, and then I joined his thing, and everything broke. And so on the fly, I had to try and Frankenstein a solution. It was just it's just crazy. It's been like that. It's been that type of a couple of weeks. Anyway, so he said this, and this is incredibly important, I think, to the larger conversation. Recognize. So I'll leave this up because I think this is going to be valuable for tomorrow. So we'll stutter this for a 30-minute bit. I'll leave it up on YouTube and everywhere else, and then try and fix everything tonight. And we'll go this full length tomorrow and get your guys' take on this. But listen to this. I think this is a very astute observation by Jay. And before I read it, it's up there on the screen so you can read it yourself. But recognize that we've talked about UFOs as that old term, okay? Unidentified flying objects. And I've discussed this as at length that it's the new version, the UAP, the unidentified aerial phenomenon or anomalous phenomenon, depending on who you ask there and what level of government clearance you have, I guess, has really been sort of a psyop to take the old name and reframe it in a way that they can, offer disclosure of a certain sense and remove the stigma of the term UFOs. Okay. And you can look at that a positive way, or you can look at that in a sort of skeptical, cynical way and think that, they're trying to sort of grab the narrative by the horns and rewrite history a little bit, right? Well, Jay here, again, of Project Unity, very smart guy, he says this, and I saw this just before we started tonight, and I kind of have to agree. He said, the spooks kneecapped Greer and then introduced CE5 to the world under a new name. That's cold. Okay, and so what he's talking about is Stephen Greer, of course, and CE5 is Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, which has been much maligned, much celebrated. As usual, depends on the circles you're in or whatever. And so he would, CE5 is the protocol of contacting entities and bringing them to you, actually initiating contact, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. And he's copyrighted it and all the rest of the stuff, Stephen Greer, right? And taking a lot of flack from a lot of different people. And there's always infighting in the UFO community. It's just what it is, right? But I think Jay's right here. The spooks kneecapped Greer and then introduced CE5 to the world under a new name. Now, what is that name? Yeah, you bet your bippy. It's Psionics. Psionics is CE5 because that's what Jake Barber's talking about. They're talking about actual psionic assets that are communicating with UFOs. They're talking about all manner of things, these whistleblowers coming forward. And look, as far as the veracity goes, I cannot vouch for anything anybody says or does. Okay, so I don't like calling people liars. I don't like saying this is the truth of it because somebody said so, right? There's definitely a ton of nuance in between those spaces. But it's up to us with our discernment and what we do know about the world we live in and some of the things we may have experienced, which may or may not have been anomalous in our lifetimes or whatever, to kind of make up the decision here and decide for yourself. I don't really know. Where I lean on some of this stuff, but as usual, and I think you should do this too, because it's just a healthy way to be, in my opinion, my humble opinion, is that be willing to change your mind tomorrow based on evidence. For instance, let's say that you went out and tried psionics or CE5 in some capacity. Cloud busting, anybody ever heard of that? Shout out APOC. That type of stuff, right? Where supposedly you can go out and do these things and it's real. And let's say that, right now you never believed in any amount of that stuff whatsoever. You're just like, nah, come on, that's ridiculous, Mike. How could you even think something like that makes any sense? Well, let's say that you're like that, okay? You're kind of stuck in that mind space and you're like, all right, well, what if I go try this? What if I go do it? And then you do it and some lights appear in the sky, right? Like what happens? Like clearly you would have to be able to change your mind and do something different with what you believe, what you think you know. Because again, when you see something extraordinary, suddenly you have to change your worldview in some capacity, right? Not always. Sometimes it could be a one-off, or sometimes, you can maybe think you were hallucinating or whatever it is, having a moment, whatever. You explain it. Maybe you had a little too much of this or a little too much of that type of thing. Surely all that plays. But what if it wasn't any of that? And you could maybe call these things down from the sky and see lights at your behest trying to communicate with you because you asked them to. You get it? Now, is that real? Once again, I don't know. We've had people in this community call in and tell me that it's real. They've seen it with their own eyes. They've done it. And so to me, it's like, okay, like I said, you decide. Some people can do it. Some people can't, whatever that looks like. I don't really know. However, recognize what's happening. And Jay is completely right. And this sort of CIA level disclosure keeps on dripping out. But it does seem like they are kind of stealing these terms in some capacity to reframe them. And we'll talk about that tomorrow night because I want to hear your take on it. And I'll send a message to Jay just in case too, because he's, like I said, very smart guy. If you guys don't watch his videos, you probably should. The Project Unity is what he calls it. He's at the Project Unity on X, or of course find him on, he's been monetized on YouTube just like we have, but you can find him on Rumble and all the rest, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. So when that interview with him drops, we had a nice conversation about an hour and a half on Saturday morning, early noonish. And then, yeah. So anyway, pretty good stuff and a lot of good information comes out of that. But yeah. So I don't know. So something to put in your pipe and smoke it for the next, 24 hours, because we'll try this again tomorrow. I'm sorry again for the technology. It's working right now. It's broadcasting out. But I think if I take a call on Discord, it's going to break. You'll have echo. I think if I try and open up the phone lines, it'll break and not do anything. So it's kind of no reason to sit here and pretend like it's going to work when I know it's probably not going to work. Because everything broke on Saturday morning. We fixed a lot of it on Friday nights. Thank you again to the people who stayed up with me that night, kind of testing these things. So I was able to comb through most of it and narrow it down. So I thought I had it fixed, but then the next morning, everything was broken again. And here we go again, Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, the same damn thing happened. So my apologies there. Sorry for wasting your time. At least I gave you a little bit here to kind of chew on and think about for tomorrow. The write-up is there. There's some links in the description if you want to check out the UAP whistleblower stuff with Jake Barber. And it's a lot. There's a lot. It's a lot to this. And I do wonder what the hell's happening because, I never dreamed as a young man into Dungeons & Dragons that the term psionics would enter... Psionics has entered the chat, and not just the chat, it's entered the UFO chat, which is even more strange, right? And as a final thought, before we wrap this, and like I said, I'll leave this up if you guys want to go back and watch it or maybe take some notes and get them ready for a call tomorrow. I'd appreciate that if you guys were, given the heads up on what's happening. Maybe you can be ahead of me tomorrow. But the deal is this. Is it possible then that maybe, just maybe, with this new budding technology like Neuralinks and whatnot. For instance, we have self-driving cars, right? So you don't even need some sort of telepathic connection to a Tesla, full self-driving right? You just hit the button on the thing and then it finds you and comes to you. It drives to you without you. It doesn't need a person to do anything. And so clearly, I think one of the most amazing parts of this, as you start looking at it in terms of technology, is that, well, wouldn't the next level of all this stuff be exactly what we're describing? This psionic level ability to take control of a vehicle and bring it to you, whether you're directly controlling this thing or not. You get what I mean? It seems strange to me. Like we're on the cusp of this, literally, with the technological space. However, it's much maligned as this is silly because it's outside of the realm of current science, which is fine. Like I said, you're entitled to believe what you want. I honestly don't care if you agree or disagree with me. I'm not keeping score or doing points or anything. I honestly don't care. You believe what you want to believe, and that's the beauty of living in a modern Western society. Some of them, yeah, because you saw what's happening in the UK. We talked a little bit about that with Jay as well. So when that interview releases, I'll let you guys know. I'd appreciate it if you go support Jay and the thing and watch it and leave lots of comments and do all the stuff and do what you do. I appreciate all the support. You guys are incredible. But yeah, think about that. The term psionics and the term CE5 has basically been co-opted. The term UFO and the term UAP has basically been co-opted. And so what does that look like going forward? And what about Neuralink and this technological aspect of bringing a vehicle to you just with your mind? Okay, there you go. That's all of it. That's what I got. That's the basis of what I was going to talk about tomorrow. I'll do it. I'll dig a little deeper and give you a little bit of extra sauce on it tomorrow. But we'll do it again tomorrow. And again, hopefully everything will be fixed. And like I said, I'm not sure what to do at this point. I'm gonna have to see if I can do a full rollback and firmware. And I'd done this. It was all set on Saturday, for late Friday night, Saturday, and then now it's all broken again. So I don't know what to do. Anyway, let's do this. I guess we'll do it just like we normally do it. And I'll hit that button and then we'll get the hell out of here. Extra spicy, you got it, Mr. Mission Control. I see you there, buddy. So thanks everybody for coming out. I'm sorry that I cut it short, but at least I gave you a little something to chew on for tomorrow. So tomorrow, Troubled Minds, same time, 7 p.m. Pacific. I'm going to spend the rest of tonight fixing this. Was it Happy Birthday, Fred? Did I see a birthday in the chat there? Happy birthday, Fred. What's up, buddy? Let's scroll up and check. Who'd I miss? What's up? I see you guys. Thanks again for hanging out. Let me know. What am I missing about this? My initial thoughts. So I'll reiterate them tomorrow in a kind of a slightly different way and give you some more information. But yeah, is it Fred's birthday? What's up? Did I miss it? What's going on, guys? Hello. Somebody said there's a birthday, right? Hold on. Let me check. Ah, yes, indeed. YouTube works. All right. Everything's good. What's up, Nathan Quantum Show? How you doing, buddy? What's up? Sorry I missed all y'all. All right. Happy birthday to whoever. I can't find it in the chat. Somebody said they had a birthday. Happy birthday, whoever you are. I'll say to the chat. Thanks again. Let's see. Oh, not until the 28th. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Anyway, so I don't know. Like I said, sorry for the technical issues. Everything's been breaking, and I'm not sure what to do about it other than taking a hammer to this thing. But it's a very expensive piece of gear, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to spend tonight and fix this up, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Thanks again for understanding. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here on time and ready to go. I'm sorry that I wasn't. There's a lot happening. So thank you for that. So we'll see you guys tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Pacific. Think about this for a moment. And what do you know about Psionics, the Dungeons and Dragons play? And how come we're literally merging these old ideas with this futuristic aspect of UFOs? Pretty strange, right? If you're on any of the platforms out there, leave a thumbs up. Appreciate that very much. I'm not sure. They say it helps the algorithm. I'm not even sure it does. But whatevs. Appreciate that. And Michael Strange out. I'll see you guys tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Pacific time, and we'll do this exact thing, except I'll give it extra spicy on the intro, and we could actually add this as a maybe preamble addendum to it on the podcast. But anyway, I'm out of here. You guys have a fantastic night. Thanks again for caring and understanding when things break, because things are broken. And I'm beside myself, frustrated, and I don't like it, but it is what it is. So I'll keep my chin up, fix it, and we'll come back tomorrow strong and ready to go. You guys have a great night. I appreciate you very much. Michael Strange out. We'll see you tomorrow night, God willing. Thanks for showing up.